The Winnipeg Jets just shocked everybody as they took down the Tampa Bay Lightning in what was one of the craziest games of the season. They won 7-4 on the back of Kyle Connor, Nikolai Ehlers, Mark Scheifele, and Logan Stanley got involved. And the Jets fought through the adversity of the referees, but there was a bit of a scary injury towards the end of the game that we're going to dive into. So stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. If you're a part of the 70 or so percent who aren't subscribed to this channel, this is the place to be for daily NHL content as well as daily Jets content. Your support has been unbelievable, and the Jets are absolutely rolling. Darius, that was one of the most entertaining games across the NHL today and really of the season and in a very long time. And what an absolute treat it was to watch that game. Insane game. And coming into this stretch of games they have now, the big question mark was, will they be able to keep up with the very good teams? The Tampa Bay Lightning, phenomenal team. They're going to play a few more good teams. They went down 2-0 early. Connor Hellebuck looked a little bit shaky today. It was a weird, an earlier afternoon game. But Darius, what a game. We're going to dive into everybody. Logan Stanley looked so happy after scoring his goal. You got Dylan Samberg. You had two defensemen get on the board here. An absolute spectacular game for everybody. We're going to dive into every single one. But what a crazy game. This team continues to shock the NHL.
A lot of great stories coming out of this game for the Winnipeg Jets. But I'm going to go with the topic of the entire season and the theme for the season, I should say. And it happened again in this game, and that is the ability to bounce back. They went down 2-0 very early, and I mentioned it in a previous video we did on the Jets that, their ability to bounce back, even if they win, a couple players not having good games, right? Their ability to bounce back has been everything so far this year. And again, going down 2-0 early in this game, maybe a lot of people, box score watching saying this one might be over. Maybe the Jets are finally, faltering here. And no, not the case. They come back in the game. They come back a couple times in this game and ultimately come out with the W. And a couple goal scores that, you wouldn't expect in this game. Iafallo with his first of the year. We were talking about him in a previous video as well. So a lot of guys came to play today and really got to work when they had to in this game. And I think that's really encouraging if you're the Winnipeg Jets and their fans, of course. And I mean, we've talked in previous videos about, I love Velarde on that top line and the dynamic that it creates, and nice passing play here with Mark Scheifele in the game. And obviously Kyle Connor, I wanted to highlight this as well, has started the season all 12 games. He has a point. He has a point streak to start the season of 12 games. So he is unbelievable. And we'll get to some other guys in a second, like Logan Stanley, I'm sure you want to talk about, and obviously Nikolai Ehlers. And we're going to get to the Kyle Connor injury at the end of the game as well. But great game for a lot of guys and just continuing to do what they've been doing all season long.
If you tuned out or you went to whatever you're doing, make dinner, do the dishes, whatever you're doing for 10 minutes, 5 minutes of that third period, you missed a lot. And one of the biggest things you miss, again, whether it was the Kyle Connor goal, whether it was just the team in general today, they went down 2-0. And quite frankly, I had faith in the Winnipeg Jets to come back this game. I had confidence. Again, Hellebuck led in a couple easy ones. It was what it was. Some crazy refereeing tonight. There's not many times where, you can't really blame the refs for a lot of games. That would have been the easy excuse if they lost this game. You could have just blamed the refs, but they did not do that. They stood in there. They kept going. And what an impressive win. And you can't say it's against, not that they had necessarily a super easy schedule, but you can't say it's against easy teams anymore. It's against one of the best teams in the NHL, albeit Vasilevsky wasn't in net. But you look at the box score, and there's a couple guys I want to mention here. Nemestikov with a huge goal to get them within one after going down 2-0 early. And that's very important. After going 3-goal lead is a much different lead than a 2-goal lead in the NHL. So getting one back is very important. But wow, I'm very happy. The Winnipeg Jets, I'm happy for Jets fans. Everybody is happy right now. But what an insane, you can call it a comeback because they were actually down in this game. This season, they haven't been down a ton, but just keep composure. And that's, again, what Scott Arniel has done with this team. They kept that and they've transferred that over from Rick Bowness's structure. They grit, they fight, and we saw some physicality. We saw some interesting play from, again, the referees, but Logan Stanley and Dylan Samberg, they were able to respond when they would take the lead, and the Tampa Bay Lightning came right back, and the Kyle Connor scored. They got right back into it. Again, it's about how they responded, and man, oh man, this team is terrifying if you're a fan of another team in the NHL.
Yeah, it is. And their ability to just get it done no matter what so far this season, because obviously they've only lost once on the season. So their ability to bounce back and just get it done. There's a couple games that have gone to overtime that they were able to get the win, right? Able to go in and get it done, even though it looked like maybe you might lose this one. And this is another one. I mean, being down 2-0, I can't, state it enough that it's looking like it's not going to go your way, maybe, right? And you're kind of fighting it in ways. And they were able to come out with the victory. And I thought that was huge. And another player I wanted to highlight as well here is, and we'll get to the reffing in a second, obviously what happened at the end of the game, is Nikolai Ehlers. I mean, most points by a Danish-born player in NHL history with a couple points tonight. He's been on fire as well. Kyle Connor started the year so strong. So a lot of really good performances from your top guys. You're getting some depth scoring as well. You have the most points from your back end in the National Hockey League, not just goals, but points. So everyone's really going. But let's get into, and we'll get into some, performances as well before the end of the video. But right at the end of the game, there was a hit from behind, and we got to touch on it. It was Nikita Kucherov on Kyle Connor, and Kyle Connor ended up leaving the game. It was a hit from behind. It is what it is. Probably should have been a call, should have been a penalty. And Kyle Connor left the game. Nick, what did you see from that? And obviously not a good sign to see him leave the game, but I'm assuming it's probably just precautionary because he did get up after that. And hopefully we'll just leave it at that. Hopefully it is exactly just that.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have an update tomorrow or sometime soon. But yeah, I didn't like the hit at all by Nikita Kucherov. It was just weird. Definitely should have been a penalty. There should have been a lot of penalties throughout this game, and we've been seeing it across the NHL now as of late. Referees are swallowing their whistles a little bit, especially towards the end of games. And whether you want to say this game, there was a couple in the Leafs game, there were some other games as well. So ultimately, I think it was I'm curious to see what you think about it. I didn't love the hit by Nikita Kucherov. I think it was a bit of a dirty play. It was a bit of a weird late one, and his head, obviously, it looked like he took a bit of a snack. So hopefully no concussion or anything like that. It looked like almost like a whiplash. So hopefully he'll be fine, but we'll have an update for you, a video as soon as we get one regarding Kyle Connor, but a dirty hit for Kucherov, and I didn't like it at all, to be quite honest.
No, and I mean, I can deal with, throughout any game, the refs putting their whistles away when the time calls for it. I can deal with that, and they want to keep things even. We all understand that, I think, to a degree. But in terms of this, that's a penalty. It was a hit from behind, and the player's not expecting it, because why would you ever expect to be hit from behind? You can't do that. So it's a bad play from Nikita Kucherov, and obviously, he's down. He wants to tie the game, so obviously, he's going to get like that. So it's a bad play from him, and hopefully Kyle Connor's okay. I would think that it's probably just precautionary, although if you watch the replay, like you said, I think I agree with you that maybe some whiplash going on there, and hopefully no concussion or anything like that, but probably just took him off. You're winning the game at the end of the game. You're up by 2, and obviously they got the extra empty netter as well. So hopefully just precautionary. Hopefully he's okay, but it's a bad hit. It's a bad play. Should have been a penalty. Unfortunately not, but the Jets come out with the win, and hopefully they come out unscathed as well with no injuries.
Yeah, let us know in the comments your thoughts are on the hit. I know a lot of fans out there are pissed off with Nikita Kucherov, and I don't really blame him. I did not like the hit at all. Should have been a penalty, but the story of this tonight was Logan Stanley, so huge shout out to him, both offensively, defensively, protecting his teammates, getting his body involved. Let us know what your thoughts are. This was a crazy game, a crazy run the Winnipeg Jets are on, and we're going to keep you up to date every step of the way. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys later.